Hello Year Sixes. So today's lesson is on translation and reflection. So what you have to do first is watch the bite-sized video. It is a Key Stage 3 video, but don't worry, it will just give you an overview of what translation and reflection mean. Then watch this video because then it will give you an explanation of how to do each of the tasks. So task 1, so click on task 1, and then if you want to, you can click on the edit icon. So here we have got task 1 here, and if we look at the example, it says this rectangle has been translated how many squares right and how many squares up. So you have to make sure that you take the same point on each shape. So here I'm looking at A, which is the top left-hand corner of the shape. So then I have to translate it to the next shape in the same position. So there is B at the top left of that shape. So how many squares up and how many squares right? So let's have a look. Or how many squares right first, then how many squares up. So here's A. How many squares across have I moved? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've moved 6 squares to the right. How many squares up? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the example is 6 squares right and 4 squares up. Okay, so that's the example. So question 1. How has this shape been translated? So here's A on that shape, and then here's B, which is in the same position on the second shape. So how many squares across, how many squares down? So let's count them. Ready? Starting on A, how many squares across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've moved 7 squares across, and I'm going in the left direction. So this is number 1, 7 squares left, and then how many squares down? 1, 2. 2 squares down, and that's question 1. Question 2. So here's A, which is at the bottom right-hand corner of the shape. Don't forget you need to count how many squares across, how many squares down to the same position on shape B. So there's point B there, which is in the same position, the bottom right-hand corner. So how many squares across? So 1, 2. How many squares down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's have a look again. So 2 squares across, 6 squares down. And then write your answer. And then question 3, here's A, point A on the triangle, and there's point B. So how far, how many squares across, how many squares up has this shape been translated? So count how many across, then count how many up. So that's task A. Task B is reflection. So this is a really lovely task. So hopefully you will be able to print it. If not, maybe you could draw the squares yourself and make up your own pattern. but you have to make sure that you colour in the shapes in reflection. So if you have a red square here, you have to reflect it so the other red square is here. The line in the middle is your mirror line. So you could do that one red. If you do this one here yellow, then you have to do this square yellow. So make sure the colours are reflected. So I'm looking forward to seeing your lovely colouring. Task 3 is reasoning. So remember, if you want to edit online, you click on the edit button. Here we are. So task 3, the translation from A to B is one right and one up. Do you agree with Rosie? Explain your answer. Now really think about this, because I know some of you will go, yes, she is right. One right and one up. But is she? If I think about this point here on shape A, where is that point on shape B? I won't give you the answer, but hopefully I've given you a little clue. Question 2. 5 parallelograms are shown on the coordinate grid. Which shapes are translated, are the translations of shape A, and which shapes are reflections of A? So here's A. Which shapes have been translated, or which shapes have been moved or have been slid across the grid? And then which shapes have been reflected? So write your answers here. I'm really sure that a lot of you will be able to do task 3. So I hope you enjoy your learning. Well done for working so hard.